We are here today with Natalya Capello, who is going to tell us all sorts of interesting things about the world of books, one of which is coming out soonish, I understand.
That is right. Hello.
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're working on at the moment, slash what is coming out soonish, because I'm very curious.
All right. I am Natalia, and I am an epic fantasy author who is writing a coming of age series about fairies, really, all the races of fairies. It's
Ooh,
epic fantasy.
okay. Wait, all the races of fairies?
All the races in the series are fairies, yes.
Fantastic. So are you drawing from like Celtic fairies or Italian fairies or like
It's all over the world, really.
okay.
Most of the main ones are Celtic and British descent, like the main races, which
Mm,
are she, hobs, which are like kind of like brownies,
mm-hmm.
um, pixies,
Mm-hmm.
puka, which,
Those are
yeah,
so fun.
I love puka. Um, red caps,
Mm-hmm.
missing one, and one's called Enku, which I'm not actually sure which myth they're from. They're like
Yeah, I'm
death
not
fairies.
familiar with them.
Yeah, they're a little obscure.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
a lot of the other races I have that show up as creatures or spirits in the stories are from other fairy mythologies.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so give us a little hint on your stories.
Well, the main character is named Lorelai, and she pretty much discovers that there is a conspiracy going on with her empire, her government,
Ah.
and most of the people think that she is crazy, and she sets out to prove she's not crazy with this,
Aha.
and ends up falling deeper down the rabbit hole into something that's just a world-ending sort of thing. Yeah,
Very fun.
right. And she ends up meeting these two other she
Uh-huh.
um, Vanna and Vandermeer, who are the main three of the series that just keep finding themselves deeper and deeper into what caused like this cataclysm in the history of the world and this great disease that spread and killed off a majority of the population several centuries ago.
Oops.
Yeah.
Huh. I feel like that could have been slightly problematic.
Yeah.
Huh. And the people all think she's crazy, even though most of the population died?
They think she's crazy for that it still exists.
Oh. I see. Like people keeping vials of smallpox around.
Right.
Oh, okay. That's exciting. Sounds
Yeah.
really awesome. So how is the world building? So because you said you drew from, a bunch of different things. So did you have to like create the world from scratch, or was it easier to build upon something that was already in existence?
It's a little bit of both. Interestingly enough, this story concept or a lot of the background and everything came from a tabletop role playing game my husband ran.
Oh,
I technically is still running. It's the
ah,
same world, but we're playing
okay,
at a different age right now. But this happened like last age. So a lot of the ideas I had for the story and stuff stemmed from that, but I've changed it a lot.
fun.
So I took off his world and I took off a lot of mythology,
Mm-hmm.
not just fairies and stuff, but gods and from different pantheons around the world. And I've created this world.
Oh, interesting. That's not something you often see combined. The world of fairies and the world of different pantheons. It's either, well, at least in my experience, I've seen usually one or the other.
Right. I'm a big mythology buff
Yeah.
from all over, so I love to mix and match things. And since this is an entirely new world of its own, I thought, why not? Let's go for it.
Yay. Sounds like fun. So how did you actually manage that?
Um, a lot of notes, a lot of reading.
Uh-huh.
Um, I have, well, right now, I use OneNote to sort
Sure.
all my notes and stuff, but I like have a map and I have summaries of what happened like in the game he ran, and then I have summaries of what I wanted to change, and I just rewrote the summary of what the history was.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Does that mean you have to go back and fix things?
I have pretty much, yeah.
Oh, oh dear. I
It's a
have
lot of fun for me. I actually love it.
okay. That's exciting. Very fun. Okay, so how many books are in this series that you've got, or is it just one book?
There is three.
There's three. Okay.
There's the first one is Song of Shadow,
Uh-huh.
and then the second one is Hymn of Ascension,
Uh-huh.
and Canticle of Magic, which is the third book, just came out.
Canticle?
Canticle, which
There's
actually
a word I haven't heard in a while.
yeah, I've the main character is a bard type, like she uses her magic via singing. So I wanted to have a theme of musical something in the titles.
I like it.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, so does it follow, you said it follows the different races, but are the same characters within each book, or is it each book is a different character and then all of it comes together in hopefully saving the world and not destroying it sort of events?
Well, the main characters are all she.
Right.
And then you get to meet other types of characters throughout that come in as
Okay.
the different races. But the races of the world are all faerie.
Right. I think I'm getting a clear picture and I like it. It sounds very fascinating.
Thanks.
So how has the writing process been with all of your very intricate world building?
It has been a little off and on. Last semester during, I guess, September to December, I was finishing up my last semester of college
Oh,
and I
wow.
graduated. So it was me trying to write and go to college at the same time, which was a little frustrating. But
It's tricky. Yeah.
now I'm able to go full time and I have a schedule for myself of like how many hours I want to put in it each day.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So how is that transition from, let's see here, basically two full-time jobs to just the one?
Surprisingly strange. I mean,
Oh.
you think it would be easier, but when your mind or your habits are a certain way, it's a little difficult to adjust, but I'm actually enjoying it though.
Well, that's good. So have you set up like a routine?
I do. I have a routine set up.
Oh, I'm such the same way. If I don't follow the routine, then everything goes wonky.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed about myself. If I don't have a routine, stuff doesn't get done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So as far as the writing itself, do you have a least favorite part? And I'm talking about from conception of ideas all the way through the money actually hits the bank account stage.
This is going to be weird, but I'd say drafting sometimes is my least favorite part, the first
Okay.
draft.
Okay.
Like, I love the world building, and I don't mind really revising too much because I know I am, but sometimes on the drafting, like what I have planned will change in the middle, and it's frustrating because I have to start replanning what I had.
So you're like a plantser.
Yes, I am totally a plantser. And I've learned that along the way, which is why I stopped plotting so much in the beginning because I know it's then halfway through, I'm just going to have a better idea.
I see. So how do you go about only plotting half? Because I'm a dedicated pantser, so plotting to me is like a foreign language that I should perhaps figure out at some point.
So what I really do is I come up with a list. I first start out with coming up with a list of ideas or scenes that I know I want to be in the story.
Okay.
And I kind of decide where I want to begin and where I want to end.
Okay. Those are good things to have.
Right. And then I try to figure out how to get there. And each scene that I plan out will have like one sentence. So I know what that scene is about. Really. And then on the days that I'm writing, I will take like a little notebook and I'll write out the scene right before I write it. Like bullet points of what I want in that scene. And so when I talk about Yeah, when I talk about it changing in the middle, like those one sentence lines, I'll either like get rid of like 2 or 3 of them and add a different set in there. And so that's what I've learned. I used to plot a lot more where I'd have like the whole thing planned out and then I'd have to scrap all of it
Oh
because
no.
I'd come up with a different idea. That's why I'm like, no, I only do one sentence because it's a lot
Yeah,
easier.
that seems like a good idea. Okay, so drafting. I can understand that. Yeah, trying to come up with something new right in the middle of your story. I mean, presumably the idea that you come up with is better.
I feel it's better, but yes, presumably.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. So besides mythology, which I imagine you probably look at a lot, is there any other research that you have to do when creating your world?
Yes, and not just creating my world, when writing it too. Like when I'm on a when I put the characters like on a ship or something, I have to research like sailing
Oh,
and what types of ships there are and stuff.
oh
So I'm
my.
not just like, and then they stood on the deck and pushed the thingy. No, I have to know the terminology.
I would totally do that. Yep. Wow. Okay, so that's a lot of research then.
it it is, and then again, the internet has made it so much more helpful.
Well, that is true. I, s-
But
yeah, that is true.
yeah, I spent a lot of time on researching some ships. I even watched some videos on them.
Okay, wow. So there must be many water scenes in your books.
Um, yes, they spend a lot of time on a boat. A lot.
That's Huh. I feel like this could be a very important plot point, and I want to ask more, but also spoilers.
Yes, spoilers.
Piff. Oh well.
And then distance. I have to sometimes do research on distance, like how
Oh,
long it would take somebody to walk or ride somewhere,
ah,
and
yeah.
how.
Distance is fun. Because you said you've got your map, so hope
Right.
do you have distances included in your map or not?
Not distances measured out. Really, it's a rough map,
Uh-huh.
but I have an idea of how long I want it to take them to get somewhere, and so I kind of set up the map that way.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's distance is well, maps in general, directions are difficult. Very difficult. Okay, so for this book series, you said you've got 3 books. Is that 3 books written or 3 books planned?
3 books written.
Okay. How many more do you think you're going to do?
So I am in the middle of debating that. Um,
Ah,
I had originally, the thing is, I had originally planned for 12 books for this
12
series.
books. Oh my.
Yes, I have a lot of plans. I had planned for this particular series to be 12
Mhm.
books, and then I wanted to write other series that happened in different points of time in this
Uh-huh.
world. Like, there's a lot of that goes on in the history that I was thinking it's interesting to write about. And I said, there's like, we're playing a different age in the game of the same thing, and I want to write about that character too.
Right.
However, lately I've been thinking because that character is a reincarnation of the character in the books.
Oh,
So I'm debating on if I want to just make these 2 series one long series or just have it 2 different ones.
aha.
So I had originally planned 12,
Okay. Originally 12, but possibly many more.
possibly many more.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Your world is gonna be one of those that has like a bunch of different series, but they're all interwoven and connected.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Okay then. Yeah, good luck with that. That sounds very fascinating and complicated, and the opportunity for Easter eggs will be such fun.
Yeah.
You said that this started out as a tabletop game. How is it changing that from a tabletop game to an actual novel style piece?
That has been one of my biggest challenges
Uh-huh.
because I have to check to see about things that are copyright for said tabletop game, and or
Oh,
change things about that. I have to also sometimes transferring from a tabletop game over to a cohesive story is a little difficult because tabletops aren't exactly cohesive.
right.
So I have to change events that happened, or I have to create totally new events that make more sense.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't have even thought about the whole copyright bit, but the cohesion bit, that one does make sense. Or, I
Yeah,
mean, makes enough sense that you know how to change it, sort of a thing.
right.
So, how did you go about figuring out what you could and could not include?
So on that, I know which game system is used, so I do a lot of research on what was actually theirs
Uh,
and what is kind of fair game, because they used a lot from mythology as well.
right.
So they really can't copyright a mythological person. And
No,
how
no,
no,
that would be interesting.
yeah, and how they're used in the game and how I use it in my story is different.
Uh,
So, and a lot of it, yeah, I have to look up certain names and stuff and either take those characters out and create new characters to fill that specific need,
mm.
or sometimes I don't even approach that part of the story at all, anyways. So,
Okay, interesting. All right, moving a little bit sideways. Is there an author out there in your specific genre whose writing abilities or editing abilities or whatever, you would like to steal?
there are so many. I'm
Yeah.
probably going to go with Brandon Sanderson's abilities.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He's pretty masterful.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what specifically would you like to seal about that? I mean, because there's a lot there with Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah, there is. Let's see. His building is just like, I know he has so many videos about it that I've watched several. Um, his character building is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like he immediately makes me feel for the characters he introduces,
Mm-hmm.
and so really, it's those points that I love.
I can totally understand that. Okay, yeah, well, I mean, he's he's gotten a lot of experience with that,
Yeah.
so yeah, no, world building. That would be grand.
Then, if we're gonna talk about, there's one more.
Okay.
He's not exactly epic fantasy, though. He has dipped his toes. Neil Gaiman is like
Well,
my writing god.
yes.
I love all his stories,
hmm
and
I mean, technically, some of his stuff is epic fantasy. It just happens to be, you know, other things too, urban
right.
fantasy and whatnot.
And I'm a huge fan of urban fantasy as well as epic fantasy. They're both my favorite genres. They
Yeah,
move back and forth.
yeah.
So that's
Would you
kind of
ever write an urban fantasy?
I do under a different name.
Oh, okay, now I'm
Yes.
curious.
So this is my pen name.
Uh-huh.
Natalia is my pen name. My actual name is Nori Cosper.
Uh-huh.
And I'm kind of taking a hiatus from urban fantasy to write epic fantasy right now. But once I
Sure.
get more into the schedule of and being able to write full time and things, I plan on
Right.
going back to my urban fantasy as well and switching back and forth.
Yeah. So what made you decide to do two different names, even though, I mean, urban fantasy and epic fantasy, they're fairly similar in a lot of ways, and I know a lot of people write both under one name, whereas if you were to go like, you know, murder mystery, that one might be a different pen name sort of a thing.
Funnily enough, it's the sex.
Yeah, okay.
My epic fantasy has, at the moment, no actual sexual scenes.
Uh-huh. Got it.
So, and my urban fantasy does have sexual scenes. It's more of
I see.
an adult situations type of thing, and
Okay.
I didn't want. Yeah, my readers there would have more expectations of that, and the epic is less romantic than the urban fantasy is.
Yeah, see, that makes perfect sense because that's a whole different expectation sort of a thing.
Right.
I understand. So how has it been marketing two different names, though?
It's a juggling act, really, and I'm not marketing my urban fantasy as much at the moment.
Uh-huh.
Because I haven't had anything come out for a little while on that.
Sure.
But it is a little bit of a juggle because I have to switch back and forth.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, marketing is always a juggling act anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, so two different names. You've got your marketing going a little bit crazy. What is it that you do to keep yourself sane?
Let's see. To keep myself sane, I play video games.
Okay.
I play tabletop role-playing games
Uh-huh.
once a week with friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a lot of games because sometimes occasionally my husband is big on board games.
Oh, like
And so I'll
games or not so traditional?
not so traditional, actually. We have a board game store right down the street from us, and we have all kinds of crazy games.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
And then I read a lot. Like, I try to read every night, or at least listen to pieces of an audiobook.
Sure.
And whenever a good fantasy show comes out, I usually try to watch it. So those are my...
Okay. And good fantasy show. That is a pretty wide genre you've got there.
Yes. It kind of allows me to have more shows.
Well, yeah. Especially with all of the people doing their own stuff these days. Let's see here, we've got Netflix doing all their own stuff. Amazon does all their own stuff. The fantasy world is on the rise.
It is, and I'm so happy about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. Definitely something I'm keen on. For people trying to get into your genre, are there traps that they should avoid?
Traps. Let me think.
This isn't always fun to hear.
No, but I believe there are, like, I want to say that it's really important to read a lot and see what people want to read, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it's called writing to market, but really it's just finding what readers want.
Uh-huh.
And, like, just saying, oh, I'm going to write, like, the story that's in my head, and then assuming it's going to just be magic.
Right.
And people are going to love it doesn't always work well.
Yeah. We wish it would.
Totally wish it would. But you have to really connect with readers and find what they want to read, and try to find that wonderful point in between what you want to write and what they want to read. So it's enjoyable for you, but it'll be enjoyable for readers as well.
Right. And how do you go about doing that? Because, okay, theoretically, you have to then connect with readers first before you write, which is like marketing in reverse.
It kind of is. And I've joined a few reader groups for my genres.
Uh-huh.
And I see their posts, and I actually post asking questions. I recently posted asking a question and asking for examples in books about my question to see if anything was out there. And I'm going to go through and actually list out what books that the reader suggested and read a lot of those that are probably in my genre to check out. And then I also read a lot of books in my genre, and I read reviews on those books to see what people liked, what people didn't like. It's a lot of research, really.
Yeah, okay. Sounds like you've already added more research to your already extensive list of research.
Writing is research, really.
Well, I mean, somewhere in there you actually have to do the
writing
bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always fun. And then there's the editing bit.
Yeah. No, I'm really grateful that I have some great editors
Yeah.
on my team that really help out and make a lot of great suggestions and catch a lot of my typos. I have a
Oh,
lot.
typos.
Yeah.
Yeah, typos are fun. I'm always impressed at the ones that actually make it through.
All the editing,
Yes.
it's crazy.
Oh, always fun. How do you find editing a series as opposed to like an individual book?
Yeah, that editing a series instead of as opposed to an individual book is definitely a lot more complicated because you have to go back and make sure that you've named the right character the right name or
Oh,
something you added in the history or a previous book that it's right in the current book.
mm-hmm.
So I like to I have kind of a series Bible with all my notes. So I go
Oh,
in and I
fun.
go through and I put little notes on things that I know may come up in next books so I can look back at the notes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's probably something that most of us should invest in, and I haven't yet done because it takes so very long.
It does.
Do you just keep up on your series Bible, or is it like every book you go back and edit, add to
I
you should be doing?
I try to keep up. I'm a little behind actually, to tell you the truth. I need to catch up once I finish this next book.
Mm-hmm.
But usually I try to go when I get my notes back when I'm revising or I get my notes back from my editor.
Uh-huh.
As I'm going through them, I'm also trying to update my Bible because it's just time. It's saves time if I'm
Yeah.
doing it then instead of having to go and edit and then do another round to update the Bible and things.
Right. Right. Oh yeah, the life of a writer. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think we live 75% in our heads, in our own story worlds.
Well, yeah, and then there's the going out and realizing that, wait a second, the rest of the world doesn't think like this?
Yeah, especially you're like, wait, oh, this is real life.
I have done that more than a few times. The looks that I get, they're pretty impressive.
Like, I feel that people think that writers might be the dizziest people in the world. I am totally the person that will push the pull door because
Oh, I do all the time. Oh my
because
goodness.
at the moment I'm currently thinking of a plot point or something that needs to change, and I'm just on autopilot.
Have you ever walked into like a countertop yet?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I'm not alone. Hooray! So I think we've covered all of the fun things about your series, multiple series, possibly singular series. Still a question mark on that one. We'll figure it out. If you're going to combine the two, would you have any super fun Easter eggs that you can tell us about that don't spoil it?
Um, Destiny.
Destiny?
Yeah, Destiny and Fate is, if you can look for that ties in my books, those are fun Easter eggs.
Okay.
I mean,
That's
what
really
it's
awesome and super vague.
it is super vague. I can just add that one of the main supporting characters, Vandermeer, is a prophet. So
Yay! Profits are fun.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, okay. That Destiny slash Fate thing makes more sense now. Hmm.
right.
Hmm. This'll be fun. Alrighty. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add that is writing related or not writing related?
Um, The Witcher is awesome. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I keep seeing posts about it, but I probably won't see it for a while because I don't have a Netflix.
Ah, yeah.
Yep. So
Do you
I
have
look at the pictures and I'm like, okay,
Do you
that
have
looks.
Amazon Prime?
I do.
Did you see what is it, Carnival Row? It has
I
fairies, so
started that one. I
that
started
was
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one, and it had fairies, so obviously, since I'm writing about them, I
Well, yeah.
was gravitating. Writing wise, I do have a free novella that's also in the series that I haven't mentioned called Nocturne.
Oh.
If you go to my website, www.natalyacapello.com,
Uh-huh.
you can actually sign up for my newsletter and get that novella.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Is this like a prequel or like an in-between or
It is a prequel.
okay, so we don't have to actually know what's going on to find out what's going on.
No, it is
That is
definitely a prequel. You don't have to know what's going on.
that's useful.
Yeah.
So what about this book that's coming out?
So it continues, it's book 3, and it
Oh.
continues Lorelai's adventures.
Mm-hmm.
She is on this path to, funnily enough, I know I haven't mentioned this, but there are vampires in my epic fantasy series.
Well, you can do whatever you want in epic fantasy.
Yes. And she is trying to defeat this mother of vampires, vampire queen. And
Ah,
so she's going on a quest to gain power to do that.
good plan.
Yeah,
Good plan. I feel like that could go badly if she doesn't.
very badly.
Mm-hmm. Good to know. All right, well, that sounds awesome. Book 3. Do you have a release date for that?
It is February 10th.
February 10th. Awesome. Sounds great. Well, this interview should be going up right around there. If you're interested in more, look in the links in the description box. Otherwise, it has been absolutely fantastic talking with you and learning about all of the mythologies that you're managing to combine, which I have to say is pretty impressive.
Thanks. And it has been awesome talking with you.